What up, bros? Welcome back to Throwin Hands. It's me. It's Toby again. Um, Toby, I just saw you right before I started recording. You seem excited to talk about today.
I'm very excited. This is a fantastic card, and I'm glad to be back on Throwing Hands.
Yes, it is a fantastic card. So we're gonna go over a couple fights on the prelims. We're not going over every fight. That's a lot of fights. But
It's a big card, 14 fights, I think, right?
14 fights. Yes, starts at like 12, I think.
Yeah.
But Cody Brundage versus Cedric Dumas. He got I, I remember there was so much hype with Dumas coming in, and then he just got. I love Josh Fremd. He's not elite by any means. He was on Throne Hands. Fremd might get there, Pittsburgh guy, but he got subbed by Josh Fremd, who's a kickboxer. So, and Cody Brundage, he's not elite either, but he'll bring the fight to you.
Yeah, I think Dumas, the pressure may have got to him a little bit. He has kind of like a street fighting background, not really a like technical martial artist, but he's got pretty well-rounded skills now. And I just think the moment got to him a bit. And Cody Brundage, man, he is a reckless, reckless guy. Like, yeah, he's dangerous for sure, but man, he is super, super reckless. So I think it'll be a good fight though.
Yeah, Brundage is more of a swang and bang guy.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna take Brundage in this one. Maybe Dumas has it back in him, but I think it's just a tough matchup.
Yeah, if I remember, he was beating up on Rodolfo Vieira pretty bad and then just got subbed because he got really tired. But
And it's Adolfo Vieira, so if you go to the ground with him,
yeah, yeah,
good luck.
exactly.
So who do you got in this one?
I'd probably lean Brundage as well, but I think it's going to be a close fight.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great fight. This fight I'm excited for. Tatsuro Taira versus Clayton Rodriguez. I think Taira is one of the youngest people on the roster. He's 23, yeah. And then Rodriguez he's pretty good. I mean, he's won one of two in the UFC, but he could. I mean, we got two prospects coming up. Um, Interesting time to put them together, I think. But this is a fun fight.
Yeah, man. Clayton, he's a good prospect. Even that loss that he had against CJ Vergara, he looked pretty good. It was a close fight. Vergara is a tough guy, and Tatsuro Taira, obviously just a beast. I mean, yeah, I think he's like the number one flyweight prospect in Japan. So the dude's an animal. He's a little bit untested still, and his fight against CJ Vergara too was a little sketchy, but he did get the finish. So that's really what counts.
That is really what counts. And what's exciting about Taira is that there's not many people coming out of Japan. Um, I think right now the biggest Japanese fighter is probably Shinya Aoki.
Yeah, which is kind of
Um,
shocking given the like extensive fighting history with Japan, but
yeah, and I can't really think of any many other Japanese fighters to be honest. But I think Taira could really be a spark in that uh in Japan. So I'm gonna take Taira in this one. I really like him. He's young. Rodriguez is fairly young too, but I will. I think Taira might see some top 15 competition after this, and Steve Urseg. I think that's actually not a bad step.
yeah, I would take Taylor as well. I think he's a really solid prospect, and I hope to see some development from his last fight.
Absolutely, he's fun to watch, guys. This is someone absolutely to look out for. See what else we got here. Um, we're not gonna talk about this one, but Jack Jenkins, Jamal Emmers. That's a fight. That's a fun fight. Um, Trevor Peak, Shepe, Mariscal, Trevor Peak, swang and banger. Gotta love him. But let's talk about our boy Zaglas Zumagulov real quick. Joshua Van's a new guy. Coming from Myanmar, which used to be called Burma. That's interesting how they do that. It's been Myanmar for a hot minute.
Yeah, yeah,
Huh. Interesting. But Zaglas trying to become the fifth Beatle with this haircut.
yeah,
And I had mentioned, I think he's 1-4 in the UFC. However, it seems like he's been in every single fight that he's fought. Um, he's obviously, I think if he gets this win, I think if he goes to a decision with this guy, he might get cut. But I think if he gets the finish, he'll stick around.
yeah. I mean, he's lost a lot of really, really close decisions. I mean, arguably won the Charles Johnson one, arguably won the Holly and Paiva fight.
I thought he
And
beat Jeff Molina.
yeah, arguably beat Jeff Molina. And the other guys like Manel Kopp, Amir Albazi, those are like top 8 guys. So
Savages.
yeah, absolute beast. I do want to say, shout out Trevor Peak. That dude is a dog.
Dog.
One of the best brawlers in all of the UFC. And he's only had like 2 UFC fights, I think. But
I think
man,
he's had one.
or one, yeah, maybe one was on the contender series. But man, that dude shows up to fight every single time. Lots of respect to Trevor Peak.
Yeah.
That could be fight of the night for sure. Because I don't know too much about Chepe Mariscal, but I do believe that he's also coming to bang, and he's got a pretty good resume. Like the guys that he's fought, and even the guys that he's lost to are pretty high level. So
Yeah. I mean, Trevor Peak, if you go watch his last fight, he knocked that dude out at the literally last second of the first round.
yeah,
Um, but yeah,
but yeah,
I'll take Trevor Peak in that one, man.
yeah,
But with Zoglas, I'll
yeah.
take Zoglas.
Zalgas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably take him as well. Joshua Van doesn't have a whole lot of high level experience, and Zalgas, we know. I mean, he's fought some of the best guys in the flyweight division, and we kind of know what he's going to do. He's going to try to pressure forward, put you against the cage, clinch, grind you down, and I think it's probably just going to work. I mean, unless they just rob him of another decision, which is
Yeah.
possible with these
Which is
judges.
possible with these judges. Ooh, I know some people who are excited about this one. If you're a women's MMA fan, you should be excited about this one. Tabitha Ricci versus Jillian Robertson. Jillian Robertson went out there. Who did she sub in her last fight? I can't remember. Take a
Was
quick
it?
look. I know she got the RNC. Oh, Rodriguez.
Yeah, Pierre Rodriguez. Yeah.
Piera Rodriguez. Yes. But Tabitha Ricci, she's coming up in this strawweight division, 8-1. She's good everywhere. That's the thing with her. Robertson is definitely better on the ground. However, Ricci can handle herself on the ground, and if Ricci keeps it standing, I think she gets this pretty handily.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Jillian Robertson, we know exactly what she's going to do. She's very one-dimensional. She is going to look for subs, and her takedowns aren't I mean, she's got decent takedowns. Obviously, her jiu-jitsu is very good. She beat Rose, I think, in a grappling match not that long ago. Kind of dominated
It's
her.
Rose.
So, yeah, I mean, but Jillian definitely has great jiu-jitsu. But like you said, so does Ricci. I mean, she can hold her own on the ground. And when it comes to stand-up, I think there's just a world of difference between Ricci and Robertson. So I would definitely favor Tabitha Ricci in this fight.
Yeah,
And she's
I
got
think.
good momentum. She's on like a 3-fight win streak. So
I think Ricci wins this one too. Do you think in that grappling match with Rose, the versus Robertson, that she followed Pat Barry's strategy?
uh probably. I mean, Pat Barry, interesting guy.
It, he's a very questionable man.
Yeah. Wouldn't say he's a great role model. We'll say that.
Yeah, you might have to pull a Charles Barkley and say, I'm not a role model.
Yeah, yeah. But he did get knocked out in a very cool way when he fought Czech Congo. If anyone's never seen that fight, he was beating the crap out of Czech Congo, knocked him down multiple
I
times.
think he knocked him out multiple
Yeah,
times.
knocked him out. Drogon's like, man, Mergliata's letting this thing go, and then he just gets knocked out cold. His eyes like roll back in his head. It's a fantastic fight.
Great fight. Um, this is a good fight. Randy Brown versus Wellington Turman. Randy Brown got absolutely decimated by Jack Della Maddalena, but who hasn't? There's
True.
no shame. There's no shame in that loss. And Randy Brown's not an easy guy to get out of there. So, and then Wellington Turman. These guys are both coming off losses. I do like Wellington Turman a lot. I think he's a pretty solid fighter. He did beat Sam Alvey. Not saying too much.
Yeah,
But and then he
Uh,
beat Nisha Serkinov. Um, is Turman coming down to welterweight?
yeah, I think so, which is interesting because Serkinov was like a light heavyweight for a while, but I guess that was at middleweight, I guess.
Yeah, he's coming down to middleweight. She
Yeah, I
Turman could be
mean,
a problem down at welterweight.
no, yeah, I agree for sure. I think he's a pretty good fighter. Even in his last fight and his loss, I think he looked pretty good. Rennie Brown, obviously, that's a very tough loss. Like he got put on skates, his legs were all over the place, and then he got subbed by Jack Della Maddalena. But like you said, that's not a bad loss. I mean, this is like a potential future champion, I would say. And I think it's gonna be a great fight. I would favor Randy Brown. I am a huge Randy Brown fan though, so I might be a little bit biased, but I'm taking Randy Brown in
Yeah,
this one.
I mean Randy Brown's length
Yeah, what is
could
he,
be
like
the key
six
here.
three or something?
6'3", 78-inch reach,
Crazy.
especially for this division. That's nuts. That's like Kevin Holland dimensions.
Yeah.
Not saying Randy
No.
Brown's Kevin Holland by any means, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, this would be a fun fight. I think I really today at the we were recording this like after the weigh-ins, I'd like to see how Wellington Turman looks on the scale.
For sure.
But I'm gonna take as of right now. I'm gonna take Randy Brown. That weight cuffs. I mean, that's another 15 pounds. So
Yeah,
it could
Turman,
be.
he's a beast though. Training with Glover, all the time. I mean, he's definitely getting better. Training with, I
Yeah,
think Alex Pereira has been training there for a good while now too.
yeah, he has. All righty, Neil Magny versus Philly Rowe. Interesting fight. I didn't exactly expect Philly Rowe to get there's some ranked competition. I mean, he did beat Nico Price. Jason Witt. Not saying Jason Witt's a bum, but he's getting old.
Yeah.
And then Orion Kosi. I
Yeah,
thought Kosi, honestly, after Contender Series, I thought Kosi would be a little more of something. Not gonna lie. But anyway, we're talking about Neil Magny, the all-time leader in wins at welterweight. I looked at his record on Wikipedia, right? He wins like 2-3 in a row, loses. 2-3 in a row, loses. He's never able to get up to a title shot.
no.
He's just always been. I don't think he's been higher than 7 in my recollection.
Yeah. No, he's a true gatekeeper, like the epitome of a
Yeah.
gatekeeper. Not to say that he's a bad fighter by any means. You can never count Neil Magny out of a fight. We saw that against D-Rod. Um, but yeah, I mean, Phil Rowe, he's on a good little win streak. I will say, like you said, a win over Jason Witt, not the greatest, but some of his other wins, like Nico Price, Nico Price is pretty good. Kosei is decent. He's definitely got huge power, and he's very quick. He's a lot,
Yeah.
younger and faster. But Neil Magny, I mean, he's just a grinder, dude. He's never going to give up, and can't count him out.
Yeah. And the thing is, he usually makes the fight boring. But I'll say this: Neil Magny versus Max Griffin was a good fight.
Yeah, that was a fantastic fight.
Yeah, I saw that live in person. That was
Oh
awesome.
yeah, he got hurt pretty bad in that fight too, but
He did.
he was
The
able
other
to
fight I
fight through
saw
it.
in person that night was Matt Brown versus Brian Barberena.
Oh, nice.
Absolute electric factory. But
Yeah. Dude, I got to see Matt Brown knock out Court McGee live. That was pretty sick.
ooh,
Yeah,
that
I went down to the UFC Charlotte card. That was fantastic. That's when Brian Battle knocked out Gabe Green in like 14 seconds. Because
was a fun card.
it was a great card, man. Like Gabe Green decided that he's just gonna run across the octagon with his hands completely down, chin as far in front of him as possible, and just got knocked out. It's like I'm not sure what the game plan was there,
Yeah,
but
I know we're going a little off topic here, but what'd you think of Jailton Almeida in person?
dude, that guy is just a monster, I mean, I think I don't know if I want to say he can become champion, obviously, because John is champ right now. But if John leaves a division, Jalton is right
Yeah,
up there.
there's no
Him.
grappling in that heavyweight division.
No, man. He
No,
just,
let's talk about the lack of grappling after we do this. I think
yeah,
this is an
yeah.
important thing to talk about.
Dude, but yeah, I mean, he just sliced through Rosenstrike's guard like butter. I
uh,
mean, it was just not even close. He got on
yeah,
top, and it was just a world of difference. I mean, that guy is
absolutely.
the real deal for
Yeah, he
sure.
is the real deal. I'm actually kind of excited to talk about it after this. But Brendan Allen versus Bruno Silva. Interesting. This is an interesting fight. I like Brendan Allen. I like Bruno Silva. Two very contrasting styles. Um, but Bruno Silva hits like a Mack truck, dude.
Yeah, he's a great striker for sure.
And
I,
Brendan Allen on the ground is dangerous. This is a fascinating fight, I think.
It's a great fight. I am favoring Brendan Allen though, just because he's coming off that submission over Andre Muniz, and we all know how incredible Muniz is on the ground. I think he was on a pretty crazy win streak too coming into that fight, and Brendan Allen stopped him. He stopped like a ton of good guys in his career. He's had some setbacks. The biggest setbacks that I remember are like the Sean Strickland and the Chris Curtis losses, but they're two guys from the same camp, fairly similar styles. And I think he just got a little overconfident in his striking. He kind of deviated from what actually made him so good, which was grappling. And I think in this fight, if he just sticks to a good game plan, comes in there and grapples and stays away from the striking, and not that he has bad striking or anything, but well, he has a clear path to victory on the ground. If he does that, I think Brendan Allen for sure. I mean, I'm pretty high on him after his last couple performances.
Yeah, I'm pretty high on Brendan Allen too. But he's really just got to be cautious of the right hand of Bruno Silva.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's an interesting fight. So I think I'll take Brendan Allen too. I usually favor grapplers, but I don't know. Silva, what's Silva's takedown defense? Let's take a look. I'm curious.
And Silva did have a bit of a weird.
71% takedown defense and middleweight. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. And he did have a bit of a weird performance against Gerald Meerschaert. Just like, not a great striker at all, but Meerschaert was able to kind of hang with him on the feet and then submit him. So it was, I don't know. But he
Yeah,
did look good against Brad Tavares. So
yeah. I mean, Weidman's going up against Brad Tavares. That's the comeback fight. Interesting.
dude, oh, those are two guys that I'm just like, just hang it up, man.
Yeah,
It's
hang it up.
come
Hang
on.
it up. David Onama versus Gabriel Santos. Fun fight here.
Banger.
If you like featherweights, Onama had that great fight with Landwehr um back in August. That was a fun fight. And then Onama subbed Armfield. Um he he did beat Benitez. He
Dude.
almost beat Jones. He was if he had not come in on short notice, he would have beaten Jones. Um but this is I mean, Santos he's a tough fight. So I don't know, man. This is interesting. I think they just want one of these guys to get their feet back up under them
Yeah.
after some losses. I, I'm leaning Onama. I think Onama is really skilled, but I'm interested to see how he performs after this whole Glory MMA fiasco.
Oh, what was up with that? Like with are you talking about with James Krause and everything?
Yeah,
Yeah. Was he like been training there for a long time?
yeah, he'd been training at Glory.
Uh yeah, I'm not too sure. Yeah, I mean it has been a while since he's been in the octagon. I'm sure it has some effect, for sure. Because James Krause, he was building a pretty good fight camp there. But I don't know, man.
Completely wasted his life.
But dude, Onama, that knockout that he has over Benitez, if anybody hasn't seen that, it's like a 9 punch combo, knocks his mouth
It's pretty
guard out.
gross.
Benitez it's a nasty
It's
finish, man.
filthy.
It's awesome. And then the fight against Landwehr, total war. He was beating the brakes off of Nate Landwehr, which is impressive because Landwehr is actually a pretty skilled guy. We've seen like even in the Ige fight, although he lost, like Landwehr looked not bad. But Onama, he just gassed himself out. And Nate Lambert's a dog, and he just took it out of him at the end. But yeah, I think Onama is a very skilled guy, and I would favor him in this matchup. I just haven't seen enough from Gabriel Santos, but yeah, I mean, I think he's pretty good.
Yeah, interesting fight here. Austin Lane versus Justin Taffa. I think Lane's coming off Contender Series, if I'm not mistaken. And then Taffa, we all know Justin Taffa. Come on, we all love Justin. Beat Parker Porter.
Bad man, bad man.
Harry Hunsucker. Uh, he lost to Jared Vandera, which is interesting, but Taffa seems to have gotten himself back on his feet because Parker Porter looked pretty good in his last fight.
Yeah.
But two good heavyweights, man. I think Taffa takes the cake here.
Yeah, Tafa's just got unreal power. I mean, even at heavyweight, like obviously any heavyweight's gonna have power, but man, Justin Tafa hits like a freight train, dude. His knockout of Hunsucker, he had two hands up, like fully blocked the kick, and it still just completely knocked him out. So, I mean, Tafa's got crazy power, and I think he gets it done, man. Austin Lane, I think he lost to Greg Hardy on the Contender Series, and then I think he got like another shot in Contenders and won that one. So, I mean, he's all right. Not super proven. Tafa doesn't have a lot of fights himself, but he's had a ton of fights in the UFC. Like he
Yeah,
was pretty early on in his career that he joined the UFC. So I think
yeah,
Tafa gets it done and gets it done in a big way, probably.
yeah. I think so too. Hold on one second. I gotta look something up. This is important. You mentioned Greg Hardy. Uh,
Yeah, a couple of former football players. That is something interesting about this fight. Austin Lane was a football player for the Jaguars for a long
yeah.
time. This
I
fight
think
is
he
in
was DN.
Jacksonville. Yeah, this fight is down in Jacksonville. So I don't know. That could have a factor. Maybe he's
Yeah,
like the featured bout in here. So
yeah, I think so too. Let's take a look at yeah, he lost to Greg Hardy, that's right. But Greg Hardy, look at I think he had a boxing match recently, and it was like the 17th round or something like that. Am I going crazy? Like, I swear I saw that somewhere. And I'm like, what is this dude doing?
I have no idea.
Oh, wait, hold on. Team Combat League. Huh. Never heard of it. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Not
We might we
familiar.
might have to do a little investigative piece on that promotion.
Yeah.
That seems interesting. But anyway, to the co-main, Amanda Hebos versus Macy Barber. This is at flyweight. Hebos is back at flyweight. Although I did think she fought her last fight at flyweight, but this is a fun fight. The future Macy Barber. Yeah, I'm excited for this one. This will be fun. I like Amanda Hebos a lot. I think she's a great fighter.
Hebas is very good. Awesome.
Ground on the feet. Um,
She's
Although
tough too.
she got
Super tough.
pieced up by um Rodriguez on the feet
Yeah.
in their fight a couple almost 3 years ago at this point. Jeez.
That is kind of crazy to think about.
Um, but Macy Barber, she might be the future of this division. Um, this is just a great fight in general. Macy Barber coming off one against Andrea Lee, Tony Kelly prodigy.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, we do not endorse Tony Kelly here.
No, we do not. We endorse Adrian Yanez. We support fully what Adrian
We
Yanez did to him.
yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah. Macy
great fight.
Barber, yeah, it's a good fight for sure. Some of her decisions have been pretty close, like pretty questionable if you ask me. Like even the Andrea Lee decision I think was a bit questionable, but she's definitely a well-rounded fighter, super tough. She's pretty big for the division, like very physically strong. But Hebas, man, she's a dog. Dude, Amanda Hebas is a dog. She's very well-rounded. She's on a maybe not a win streak. I think she lost to Chukagian, but that was a questionable decision too, if you ask me. I mean, Caitlin Chukagian, the absolute queen of winning these split decisions that she probably should lose, but that's a discussion for another time.
Yeah, we could do a whole episode on that.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Um,
But
I'll take
should be a
Hebus,
good
man. I
fight.
think she gets the decision.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to decision. Like I would say 100% this fight goes to the scorecards, but you never know. You never know. The scorecards are always a toss up with these judges. But yeah, I would favor Hebus as well.
But this has fight of the night potential, I think. So the, there's lots of things here. However, maybe if this fight weren't on the card, um,
Yeah.
that would definitely be fight of the night. But dude, I've been looking forward to Josh Emmett versus Ilya Topuria ever since the ink dried, bro. This is the present of the division versus the future of this division. I have never been more confident in a fighter being a champion than this dude Ilya Topuria. I don't know what it is about him. Well, I know what it is about him. He's a savage out there. But man, could this be a passing of the guard, Toby?
Yeah, I think 100%. I mean, Topuria is insanely well-rounded. Like we talked about this on the last episode. He was a grappler. Most of his wins before the UFC were submissions. If you look at his record, I think it's like 8 submissions and 4 knockouts are his finishes. So he's really just been picking up these knockout wins in the UFC, and people have kind of mistaken that, thinking that oh, he's just a striker. No, he's a legit grappler and a very good wrestler. He's from Georgia, so those mountainous countries out there, they've got extremely good bases for wrestling, a
Mm-hmm.
very different style of wrestling than American. And yeah, he's just got ridiculous power, great grappling. He's super young. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I think this is his coming out party, and I think this is kind of a passing of the torch here from Josh Emmett.
Yeah. And if we look, his only decision win was against Yusuf Salal in his UFC debut. Where he just grappled him. He was throwing, I think there were multiple submissions during that fight. And every win before that, his first 7 wins were by submission. Guillotines, anacondas, triangles,
Yep.
all that stuff. And then he submitted Bryce Mitchell with an arm triangle. Bryce Mitchell said the flu had a factor. It could have, but you should have waited if it was that bad, Bryce. Um, but But Emmett has that one hitter quitter power, man. I don't know what it is. It's sick power.
Yeah.
And he was a great wrestler in college. Here's my question: Emmett's 38, right? Topuria's 26. Topuria hits like a Mack truck, and I mean Shane Burgos hits hard, but it's not Topuria hard. I don't think.
No.
Like,
Shane Burgos is much more of a volume guy than
yeah,
Topuria is.
I mean Burgos can crack. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but you know, I mean Dan Ige is a combo guy, right? Cater's more of a combo guy. His elbows are gnarly. First off, Cater won that fight. I don't care what any of you guys say.
No, I agree.
Everyone
I agree.
agrees that think Cater won that fight.
I'm a huge Gator fan too, so I'm biased for sure, but he definitely won that fight.
Oh, I'm biased too. I love Calvin Cater, but I am,
I mean, come on.
dude. This is I
But
I fear. Here's my thing. I think Ilya Taporia takes all of his opponents extremely seriously. I don't think even with the patty distractions sent Jai Herbert to a place no one has ever been. I don't think. And then he won in, as Joe Rogan said, Bryce Mitchell's world.
yeah.
I don't think this is a good idea. Damn,
Oh,
DC.
Rogan.
Uh oh how little you know about Ilya Taporia,
Dude,
my
oh, how the
friend.
mighty have fallen with Rogan, man.
Uh,
I don't know. I just feel like he's too consumed by so many other things, which is fine. He's got a different career. He's got the podcast. Like he gets millions and millions of viewers every episode. But I just don't think his heart is in the UFC anymore. And I don't think it's fair to true UFC fans to keep putting him on. And, to be fair, they haven't really put him on that many pay-per-views. But when he's on there, he's just making like these weird old references and he's just not really, it doesn't seem like he's into the fights that much.
yeah,
But
yeah. It's like, especially with the Taporia and Bryce Mitchell fight, like why are you saying this is Bryce Mitchell's world? Yes, it is his world, I guess. But Ilya Taporia, if you look at his record, it was all submissions up to a certain point. So I don't know, but let's get back to this fight. We could talk. I could go on about that all day, man.
yeah.
But I think Topuria knocks him out cold in like the second round. I really do. I think it'll be brutal. I think Topuria is going to do that classic left hook to the liver, right overhand, and I mean Emmett was get. I mean Yair's a volume guy with his kicks for sure, and Emmett was getting hurt, and he just resorted to top position. But if you're getting subbed by Yair is an underrated grappler. I think you can agree with me on that. I think
Oh
he's a
yeah.
very underrated grappler. But if you get into Toporia's guard, that's a whole different guard than a Yair Rodriguez guard, especially when it comes to the jiu-jitsu. So uh, jo- Josh Emmett does have that one-hitter quitter power. If Josh Emmett knocks him out cold in like the first with just a straight right, I'm not going to be surprised. But I think Topuria takes it second round knockout.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of factors in this fight that are favorable for Topuria. I mean, like you mentioned, Josh Emmett is 38 years old, and he cuts an extreme amount of weight to get down to featherweight. Like he is a big, big guy. So he's probably already going to be a little bit compromised, like his body, just from cutting so much weight, he's going to be super dehydrated. And I think Topuria is going to rip. I mean, dude, the way he rips body shots, those hooks that he throws are nasty. I think he's going to I think he's going to hurt Emmett to the body probably. And then, at some point, everybody's chin gets cracked. Like, yeah, Josh Emmett has a good chin. His chin's been cracked before, too. He got knocked out pretty bad by Jeremy Stevens. He got cracked a lot by Yair. And at this point in his career, I just think a guy like Topuria is a terrible matchup for him because Emmett, he pretty much just has like an overhand, right? And the way he sets it up is by faking those takedowns and just bringing that over the top, like similar to what Habib did against Conor McGregor. But Topuria is not worried whatsoever about the takedowns. His sprawls are insane. Watch any of
Yes.
Topuria's fights. Anybody who shoots on him, he is sprawling before they even think about taking a shot. I mean, his sprawls are unbelievable. So I think just anywhere this fight goes, Topuria has the advantage, and it's just a bad matchup for Josh Emmett.
Especially because Topuria keeps a low stance, and you saw that against Bryce Mitchell. Like
Yep.
Bryce Mitchell got in on one, but he made almost he couldn't get to work within Topuria's guard. So I don't the path to victory is really hard for Josh Emmett. It's I really do think it's right hand. I don't maybe he catches Topuria in a guillotine. I think Josh Emmett's a capable grappler, but Topuria's the thing is, this is how you and I are going to talk about Topuria all the time, right? He's so good everywhere that someone said this about John Jones. I think this applies to Topuria. I'm not saying Topuria is that great,
Dude,
but
what? John Jones is Topuria too? No, I'm just kidding.
like your weakness, Topuria is going to be better than your weakness. I don't care what you say. If Topuria's weakness is, let's say it's clinch fighting. Topuria's weakness is clinch fighting, but yours is also clinch fighting. Topuria's clinch fighting is going to be better no matter what. Like
Yeah,
that's how good he is, I think.
I agree.
Let me pose a question. If Topuria gets this, should he get a title shot?
Um, yeah, honestly, yeah, because if you just look at the division right now, I think it just makes sense. I mean, we'll see what happens with Volk and Yair, but I mean, who else? You know, Max has already fought him several times. Ortega's already had his fight with Volk. You know, who else is really up there that would be in line next for a title shot?
Yeah, I mean,
Because
I
Max
think
Max just beat Arnold Allen too, and
yeah,
Allen's up there, but Allen's coming off a loss.
I think Topuria would do terrible things to Ortega.
Oh God, yeah. Oh my,
Oh my gosh.
yeah. You know, I remember watching that Ortega fight against Yair, and it was almost like Yair was just destroying him. And then, yeah, it was unfortunate. Ortega like blew out his shoulder, but I don't think that fight was even going to be close. I mean, Yair
Yeah,
was beating him up.
and that shoulder injury was caused by
Yeah,
Yair's grappling.
exactly. No, exactly. So I think Topuria would just run through Ortega, and it's like, you know, why even put him up against another guy? I mean, I guess if you wanted to do like after Max fights, I guess, like if you wanted to do, you know, after the zombie fight, but it just doesn't make much sense. I think he deserves a title shot after this. Yeah.
I don't get why they made that. We talked about this the other day, but Zombie
Yeah.
Holloway should be criminal. There should be criminal charges pressed.
Dude, yeah. Oh, you know, I was watching this hilarious video earlier where there's some guy it was like UFC 272, whatever it was Whitaker versus Adesanya, their second fight, and they were asking Whitaker because I guess he plays Skyrim a lot. They were talking about
Hell yeah.
if he saw that Josh Emmett, I guess people are comparing him to the fighting Falmer from Skyrim. If you want to look that up, but he's just like this little goblin troll looking guy. And I mean, Josh Emmett, no disrespect, dude. Shout out Josh Emmett, but definitely looks exactly like the fighting Falmer from Skyrim.
Oh, and I'm pulling it up right now.
Poor guy, man. Poor guy. Just a little gremlin. I mean, he just, you know, he has no
That's
eyebrows.
who said this?
Just some reporter at the press conference. I guess people on Reddit were saying it.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Damn.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal,
That
man.
is brutal.
Dude, Emmett was asked about it though, and he was chill about it. You know, he took it well. So he's a
Hey,
good. I mean, Emmett's a great guy, and it's
I
gonna
love
be.
John. As a dude, I kick it with him. Are you kidding me?
It's a shame that he's gonna be put to sleep this weekend, but
Yeah.
you know, but he's a
Um,
good guy. Oh, and I was gonna say too, a lot of people tend to forget with Josh Emmett, even in the Michael Johnson fight. Like, yeah, that's a spectacular knockout. He was probably losing that fight. I would, you know, it was definitely close. I would say Michael Johnson was probably winning that fight, and a lot of his fights are that way, where he's down on the scorecards. Or it's just a very close fight. And then at the end, he just pulls off some spectacular knockout, which I mean, hey, you know, if you're getting that finish, nothing wrong with that. But I just don't think you can get away with that against a guy like Ilia Topuria.
yeah, I I agree. So we'll we'll talk about, like I said, we got to talk about this real quick. We were talking about Jailton Almeida. Um, does he have a fight lined up? I don't think he does.
No, I do not think
So
so.
someone said put him against Tuivasa. Dude, don't do that if you
Yeah,
like.
do not. Yeah, if you're a fan of Tuivasa, I would say do
That's the
not.
last thing you
Yeah,
want to see. Um, but I think the thing with all right, let's take a look at some. Let's think about the grapplers in this division, right? John Jones, yeah, that's blatantly obvious. It's Johnny Jones, Johnny
yeah.
Bones Jones. But let's go through the top 10. Cyril Gahn, no, absolutely not. I'm sure Pavlovich can, but here I'm concerned about when if Jones and Pavlovich fight, Jones just might slip a right hand and just get to the body lock again.
Yeah.
Curtis Blades, yes, but he doesn't have jiu-jitsu. Stiopic, as Joey Diaz would say. He got some decent wrestling. Tom Aspinall might be like a top 2, 3 grappler in that division, man.
Dude, that is the fight to make. That is 100% the fight to make. Aspinall versus Almeida. Those are the two best prospects in the heavyweight division for sure.
That's what
Unquestionably. I know people are super high on Pavlovich, and so am I. I mean, Pavlovich is a really good fighter, but
Savage.
anytime you see guys like that where it's just sub 2 minute knockouts over and over and over, you never really know how good they are in all areas of the game. And in his UFC debut, he did get stopped by Alistair Overeem, which yeah, like Overeem's a beast too. And but he got grappled and Overeem was on top of him and just pounded him out for a TKO win. And
Yeah.
yeah, that was years ago and it was his debut. Don't get me wrong about that. But we haven't seen him against an Aspinall or an Almeida and I think, yeah, Aspinall and Almeida are just the two most well-rounded best prospects in that
Yeah.
division.
I agree. And, you got Volkov there, who I think Volkov's wrestling is a little underrated, but he's not a grappler. Spivak can grapple. Romanov can grapple, but it's like, I mean, he got demolished by Volkov.
Dude, yeah, that was insane to watch. Like I mean, he
He
faced a little bit of adversity and Volkov just tore right through him, man.
Volkov got to work in that fight.
Yeah, that was wild to watch. I
That
didn't
was
I did not expect that. Like nothing against Volkov, but man, I did not expect that at all.
I did not either. Oh, speaking of Andrew Julie, that I was just trying to pull up Marcel Dorf's thing. She's fighting Natalia Silva, but some more fights have been made. It's been crazy. Um, it's been a busy week if you ask me. But
Yeah.
let's take a look here. Our boy Marcel Dorf,
Yep.
um, champion Alexa Grasso will fight Valentina Shevchenko at UFC Fight Night on September 16th. We got a Fight Night championship. This
Hey.
man, there's nothing better than a championship fight on a fight night. I don't care what anybody says.
Dude, I've actually the first UFC event I ever went to was UFC Norfolk, and it was Joseph Benavidez versus Davison Figueiredo, their first fight for the flyweight belt. Now, granted, Figueiredo did miss weight by like 2.5 pounds, but he put a beating on Joseph Benavidez, and it was a fantastic card, great fight.
For sure, I agree. That that was a
Oh,
that was a beat down.
and
Um,
number one pound for pound, Alexa Grasso, right? And number one female
that's
pound for pound, I
right.
believe,
That's
because
crazy.
Nunez is yeah.
Should be Zhang Weili
There
in
you
my
go.
opinion.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Um, Gavin Tucker's
Zhang Wei
back.
Li. Oh, nice.
He's fighting Diego Lopez. Um, interesting fight.
It's a fun matchup.
It is a fun matchup. Okay, we got to do something about these posters, bro. This is terrible.
That's not the best poster that I've seen.
That is a horrible poster. Um, okay, this is what I want to talk about. Mateusz Gamrot, Rafael
Oh,
Fiziev. Gamrot wants to fight Fiziev in 5 rounds, and apparently Fiziev's in. Dude,
dude, that
I
is
am I
phenomenal.
am all in on that fight, bro. That they want a
Oh
main
yeah,
event. I'm like, yes, please.
dude, yeah, absolutely. That's a great fight. I'd be a
Six.
little bit worried for Gamrot though. I mean, Fiziev, dude, his striking is legit. I mean, I know that he lost his last fight against Gaethje, but it's Justin Gaethje. So Gamrot, he's been a little sketchy on the feet. He got dropped badly by Beneil Dariush. He got dropped by Arman. He gets dropped in a lot of his fights, actually. Like his striking is just he leaves himself open. And someone who
He
is
does
so technical and so precise, like Fiziev, like you see the strikes that he lands, like against Brad Riddell, for example, that beautiful spinning kick that he landed. I just think, man, Gamrot could be in a little trouble there if they stay on the feet for too long. But then again, he could just start wrestling and then manhandle him. So who knows?
Oh, that Fiziev Riddell fight was awesome. That was sick.
Dude, the Fiziev
Um,
Gaethje fight. Have you seen where Gaethje landed an uppercut? I think, and there's like a line of snot that just goes flying
oh,
out of
I saw
Fiziev's
that.
face. Oh, it's horrible, but beautiful
Rob
at the
Font,
same time,
Rob Font will fight Song Yadong at UFC. Great fight. Awesome
bro.
fight.
Dude, UFC 292, man. I'm thinking about
Stacked.
dropping $500 on a ticket or something because that card. If they actually put Henry Cejudo and Cheeto Vera on that card, I might do it, man. I might
You
do it.
going to Boston for that?
That's such a good card. Phenomenal. I mean, O'Malley and Sterling as the main event. You got Zhang Wei Li defending her belt against Amanda Lemos. You've got maybe Cejudo and Vera, Font and Vera. I mean, it's just like, man, you know,
Yeah.
that's an
Uh,
incredible card.
yeah. Um, Chris Curtis fighting Fluffy Hernandez September 16th on the Grasso card.
That's interesting.
Dude, I can't stand Chris Curtis, man.
Really?
I get first off, this dude has no idea how to take a loss.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Oh, Gaslam headbutt me, dude. Inadvertent headbutts happen all the time in MMA. You just gotta take it, okay?
Yeah, look at what Kevin Holland when he lost that fight to who's the dude? Dawkins? Is it Chris
Kyle
Dawkins?
Dawkins,
Kyle Dawkins, yeah. There was like a really bad headbutt in that fight, and it ended up with Dawkins like submitted him after. And Kevin Holland was like, "Look, if this was a street fight, he would have won. Like, there's no question about who won this fight. Like, he knocked me out with his head, and then he choked me out." And it's like, yeah, obviously, I'm not saying that like headbutt should be legal or anything, but
no, but that Jacker Manson fight, the reaction after that was embarrassing, dude. Like,
yeah,
dude, you got your whole game is predicated on striking, and you got absolutely point fought by Jacker Manson, dude. Like, come on.
yeah. Jack Hermanson, not exactly the greatest striker,
No,
but.
that's what I'm saying.
But I do
Um,
think, Chris Curtis, he's in fun fights. I do like to watch him fight. He's usually in bangers, I will say.
that's true. Uh, Volkan Oezdemir will fight Azamat Mirzakhanov at September 2nd. Dude, that is a tough fight for Volkan Oezdemir.
Bro, Volkan Oezdemir, man, his strength of schedule is absurd. They just feed this guy to the wolves every time he goes out there. Poor Volkan. But yeah, that's a really tough matchup.
So since COVID, he has fought Yuri Prohaska, Magomed Ankalaev, Paul Craig, and
Man,
Nikita Krylov.
man, come on, man. I mean, even before that, dude, he was fighting like Jimmy Manawa, DC, Anthony Smith, Dominic Reyes, Rockets.
OSP.
Oof. I don't think he's ever fought a bad guy in the UFC.
No, Nikita Krylov might be the worst guy he's fought.
Yeah, and Nikita Krylov is not bad.
Yeah, he's not a bum, that's for sure. I think Nikita's ranked eighth or something.
Yeah. Yep. I know
He's ranked fifth.
oh geez, that kind of tells you where the light heavyweight division is at right now.
Yeah. Um, say that again. Um, okay, one's card is pretty awesome tomorrow. Bular is facing what's his face, man. It's this 5'10" Russian dude who's like 225 pounds.
Hmm.
Um, oh, what's his name? I can't remember it, but hold on, I gotta look it up now.
I feel like I know exactly who you're talking about. That little Russian guy who's just like super powerful and
Yeah,
one.
who just
Yeah.
I'm going to
Yeah.
one FC's oh, Malakin.
Yeah. Anatoly.
Anatoly Malakin.
Yeah. Dude's a
If you aren't
beast, man.
doing anything tomorrow night and you have Prime, watch that fight. You have to watch Anatoly Malakin fight.
It looks
The-
like a pretty good card, yeah.
he's a savage. Uh yeah. Yeah, he's 6 foot 225 pounds.
Yep.
Dude, the dude is not normal. And he's undefeated. He
Oh,
absolutely
it's
destroyed
crazy.
Renier de Ritter.
Which is saying a lot. I mean,
I mean, de Ritter has no striking at all.
yeah, but he
uh,
does have an insane BJJ.
his grappling is next level. Um, Jeremiah Wells, Carlson Harris. Oh, Jessica Andrade versus Tatiana Suarez, dude. That's a good fight.
Yeah, yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna complain about that one.
Dude, I'm always down for a Jessica Andrade fight. Man, she
Oh,
is always in some bangers.
yeah. I just hope Cejudo and Cheeto is verified.
Yeah, so do I. That's a great fight. I, I
That's gonna
think
be awesome.
I think Cejudo gets it done though. Cheeto, he relies way too much on his power alone. Just like he'll, if you look at the Rob Font fight, I'm pretty sure Rob Font landed like the third most significant strikes in a
He did.
UFC fight. And yeah, Cheeto hurt him at the end of each round, but you just cannot bank on that against a guy like Henry Cejudo. And like you saw against his fight with Sandhagen, it just didn't work. I mean, it's just not a good game plan
Yeah,
what he
I
does.
mean, I mean, you can't do that against a guy with as high a fight IQ as Cheeto. You just can't. I don't know, as a Cejudo
Cejudo.
rather.
Yeah, Cejudo may have the highest fight IQ in the game. He's up
Uh,
there with like John Jones and
yeah,
you know,
outside of John Jones, he might.
like his fight IQ is off the charts, man.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, Rob Font landed 273 significant strikes in that fight.
Yeah,
271 rather.
that's
And
crazy.
Cheeto won. He got outstruck every single round.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
but if Cheeto hits you, man,
dude. Even in the Dominic Cruz fight, that's what was happening. He was
yeah,
losing
that
rounds against Dominic Cruz, and then yeah, he like broke his
head kick,
entire face. But
yeah, it was
yeah,
that was a thing of beauty.
I just don't see that happening against a guy like Cejudo. Like, when was the last time you saw Cejudo get really caught bad? I mean, maybe like DJ. I guess that'd be the last time.
I guess. And
And
that was in the
that was a
liver.
long time. Yeah, yeah, that was a long, long time ago. So
You know what, man? I'm gonna go through quickly. I'll take my time, I guess. What cards we got coming up? Because this is gross. So through the summer, we have all the fights. So we got Emmett versus Topuria on Saturday. Come on. Come on. This has can't wait. And then you have Sean Strickland versus Abus Magomedov. Um kudos to Sean Strickland.
yeah,
This is
shout out Sean Strickland, baby.
this is this card is a hardcore's if you're a hardcore guy, this fight card is absolutely awesome. um
Oh
if you're a
man,
casual, it's not like look at the card, dude.
dude.
Like
Oh yeah, I just pulled it up. Demirez Magulov versus Grant Dawson. I'm so excited because I thought Demirez Magulov retired after the fight against Armand. I think he did retire,
I think he
but
has one more fight on his contract, and he's just like, I'm gonna finish it out.
dude, I think Demir does absolutely nasty things to Grant Dawson.
He does
Demir,
terrible things to Grant Dawson,
bro,
dude.
anybody who hasn't seen Demirez Magulov fight, like if you want to watch one of the most high level fights in UFC history, watch his fight against Garam Kudataladze. I hope I'm saying that right.
Yeah,
But Garam versus Demir,
great fight.
beautiful, beautiful fight. I mean,
Great
those
fight.
are they're just not very active, like because no one wants to fight them.
Yeah, no one's fighting.
Nobody in the top 10 or definitely not in the top five is stepping up to fight these guys. It's the same problem that Arman Sarukian has.
Yeah.
You know.
Then you got Max Griffin versus Michael Morales. Oh my gosh, Spider-Man, dude.
Yeah.
um,
Dude,
Ariane Lipsky versus Melissa Gatto. Okay, fight. Ishmael Bonfim versus Benoit Saint Denis. Whew. Whew, whew,
cool
whew.
matchup.
Dude, Saint Denis is arguably the toughest dude on the whole roster. That fight against who did he fight? That I wanted to go in there and save that dude from the ref.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
it was Aleski dos Santos.
Hmm.
That was terrible. That ref should never step foot in a cage again. And then you have Bruno Fajeda versus Abdul Razak Al Hassan on that card.
Dude, that has fight of the night written all over. Either fight of the night or someone gets knocked out in like 30 seconds.
Yeah. And then you got Yana Santos versus Macy Chasson,
Dude, wait,
Jordan Levitt versus
Kevin
Elvis
Lee is
Brenner.
coming back?
Yeah.
What?
You have
What?
Alexander Romanov versus Blagoy Ivanov to open up the whole card. But Kevin
Also,
Lee's back, and they could not have given him a
yeah,
worse
why?
opponent.
Dude,
Renat Fakretdinov. This dude is a savage.
yeah,
He's
why
on
are
a
they
he's on a
feeding
19
Kevin
fight
Lee
win
to
streak. Oh my gosh.
poor
They're
Kevin
feeding
Lee,
it to the
man?
wall. They're just trying to figure out where he fits in.
Yeah, yeah. Where does he fit into all this? But man,
Dude,
Kevin Lee,
that's a
he had such
hard matchup.
promise. And that's a ridiculously hard matchup for his
That
first fight
is
back in the UFC in a couple of years. And what is he? He's been in like bare knuckle, I think. Or no, not has he? Or no, he's
Eagle.
been in like Eagle
Eagle
FC.
FC.
Yeah, yeah. And what was his last fight? Like Diego Sanchez, dude.
Diego
I mean,
Sanchez and Eagle FC.
come on, man.
But dude,
And then you're
that
gonna give him Fakhretdinov. All right, yeah. Come on, dude.
Fakrdinov, dude, that's a oh my that is a nightmare matchup, bro. And the thing with Kevin Lee is he's too big for
Poor guy.
155, but he's too small for 170. He's a 165. That's he'd be the champ.
Yeah,
But
he's been talking about that forever. He said, he wants them to create that division, but they won't do it. I mean,
so
I get why they won't do it though.
yeah,
But
we'll see where he fits into this, you know. And then we have Volk versus Rodriguez. Woo! At 290. This is card of the year by far.
dude,
Yeah,
don't count out Yair, man. Anybody
no.
counting out Yair, don't count him out. Not like obviously, I respect Volkanovski, probably the most skilled guy in the UFC right now. I'm like maybe besides Sean Jones, obviously, but yeah, Yair is dangerous at all times in all areas of the fight.
Oh, I completely agree. Then you got Moreno versus Pantoja. That dude, Pantoja's a savage, man. That's gonna be.
Oh,
I am so excited. I am so
I
excited
love
for that fight.
Pantoja.
Then
Dude's a
Robert Whitaker.
killer.
Yeah, Robert Whitaker, please, please dispatch of this fraud, Duplessis. Please
Yeah.
get him out of there the first round. Do it.
And looking at these odds, I mean, I agree. Minus 350 on Rob, 100%. Dude, he should destroy
He should-
Duplessis. I think people are seeing what we're seeing, which is that Duplessis is just not that skilled. And Robert Whitaker is so skilled. He is so
he might be the
well-rounded,
most
man.
well-rounded fighter in the division.
Yeah. Oh, seriously. I mean, he can do it all. And I really hope that he lands that trademark 1-2 to the rear head kick. I think he's gonna land that on Duplessis
Please,
and knock him out.
Robert, one more time, please. Jalen Turner, Dan Hooker, awesome fight, awesome fight.
Banger. I love
Bone,
Jalen Turner, dude. But I love Dan Hooker too. I mean, he's given us some great fights, but
oh
I
yeah,
think this is a
for
terrible matchup
sure.
for him. I think Jalen Turner pieces him up and maybe submits him, honestly.
That Dustin Poirier fight changed his life.
Yeah. Dude, he was so close to getting him out of there too. I think it was like the end of the second round where he was just teeing off. He landed that big knee and
He almost beat him.
Poirier was like just trying to move his head and he was out basically on his feet. And then man, Poirier somehow survived that. Just
If there were 5 more seconds in that round, Hooker would have won that fight.
oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
Bo Nickel, Trayshawn Gore. I think they're pushing Bo Nickel a little too hard.
Yeah.
Put him on ABC. I love Bo, but he's not there yet. Robbie Lawler versus Nico Price. Please, Robbie,
Yeah,
this is your last fight, man.
I wish Robbie would retire already, but
But Sean Brady versus Jack Della Maddalena. Woo.
dude, that
Dude,
is a fantastic matchup.
Sean Brady loses to Bilal. Remember the name. I really wish I didn't remember his name sometimes, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like Bilal, yeah, his fighting style isn't the most exciting, but if you look at the guys that he's beat and the streak that he's on, man, you're talking about Sean Brady, Wonder Boy, Gilbert Burns. He's been running through
okay,
these
but
dudes. Like,
but he couldn't finish Gilbert Burns, who had one arm the whole fight.
that is true. That he's not a good finisher, that's for sure. Even the Sean Brady fight, it was like a standing TKO, but he's a very talented, very
Yeah,
well-rounded guy.
I get it, but like, dude, he talks way too much crap for my taste. Like, dude,
Yeah.
just cool it. Oh, I should get the title shot. I'm like, dude, no. I think Colby should get the. I'm one of the few people who think Colby should get the title shot. I don't care. Just give him the title shot. I thought he
I
beat
think it's
Usman in the
a
second fight. Personally,
It was definitely close. I don't know. I mean, I'd have to go watch it back because didn't he get knocked down twice in that one round? And that probably was a
yeah.
10-8. So it was definitely,
I
I
think
think
it
he
was
probably did win the last three rounds. So it probably would be a draw, yeah, if
yeah.
anything, I
Jeez.
would say. But yeah, I mean, Colby, dude, what a dog. Yeah, I think people saying like, oh, he doesn't deserve it at all. Like, clearly, he's one of the best fighters in the division. Whether you love him or hate him, he is an extremely talented fighter,
His
and
he has the best grappling in the division. I think, like overall, when it comes to
he's up there,
jiu-jitsu
yeah,
and
for sure.
wrestling. Um,
Yeah.
Jimmy Crute, Alonzo Menafield, just some good stuff, man. That's a stacked card. The
It's a
next
good
week
fight.
we
Dude, the Sean Brady fight, that's a tough fight for Sean Brady. I think JDM is legit. I think he's like a
yeah.
top five guy right now. Right now,
Yeah,
I think he's top
I
five.
think if you put him in against any top five guy, he wins. I really do. And you have Holly Holm versus Myra Bueno Silva.
Yeah, that's maybe one of the worst
This
headliners that
might
I've
be one of the
seen.
worst main events ever, bro.
Dude, who thought this was a good idea for a main event? Also, the co-main is Albert Duraev and Jung Young Park. This is like, bro, they did not care at all about this card. They are just
I
throwing
think they
something
just
out
had
there.
to abide by contracts on this card, bro.
Dude, this is
and it starts at 10 p.m.
Yeah,
The main card
yeah.
starts at 10 on this one. Oh my
Like,
gosh. Atman and Zaitar opens the main card. Hell yeah.
uh,
Hell yeah. Um, okay, why isn't Terrence McKinney on the main card?
yeah, I don't know. What's up with that?
What? Why isn't Austin Lingo on the main card? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely a lot of prospects. Like, you never want to say a card is just terrible because obviously these people are putting their lives on the line all the time, and they're obviously all very good fighters. But there's barely any ranked matchups on this card. Maybe only just like two women's fights that are ranked matchups, and it's just a lot of prospects.
yeah.
I mean, it's just
Norma Dumont versus Chelsea Chandler. Dumont's ranked 13th in the bantamweight division. She's never even fought at bantamweight.
yeah, that's interesting.
When Laura Sanko was like, "Oh my gosh, she's driving a dump truck at the weigh-ins that one time."
Yeah.
I'm like, "What?"
Dude, have you ever watched those little like pre-fight shows that they'll do with like Laura Sanko and DC
It's
and
fun.
dude, they get wild. They get out of pocket.
They
Like
have said some like the Norma Dumont stuff that Laura Sanko. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that
dude, some
is
of the things they say, I'm like, oh my, I can't believe they're allowed to say these types
hey,
of things. But
you know what? It's entertaining. I'm all for it." But
yeah,
when Laura Sanko said that took me out. I remember watching that live and I just lost it. Why is it
super random.
super little very out of pocket? But why is Walt Harris not the co-main?
Yeah, no, I don't know. Walt Harris is
Uh,
a fun guy.
this is a very questionable card.
And also, we need to get Laura Sanko on some more commentary. I'm a big
I
fan of
like
Laura
her.
Sanko
She
on
knows what she's
commentary.
talking about.
She's been doing Contender Series for I think the whole time, really. And I think she's a fantastic commentator. I mean,
Mhm.
like nothing against DC, dude, but DC
I can't
not my
stand
favorite
DC.
commentator. Not my favorite.
If Dominic Cruz had a little more pep in his step, I'd enjoy Dominic Cruz a lot. His
Yeah.
knowledge is amazing.
Oh
I
yeah.
here's my magic combo when it comes to commentary. It's Fitz, Felder, and Bisping.
That's
That's
the
that's
yeah.
my those are my favorite
Definitely
three.
that's the best one for sure.
Oh,
That's the
for
best
sure.
combo.
Because Paul and Bisping just dog on each other. It's great. But this London card is fairly stacked. I gotta say.
Yeah.
You got Davy Grant on the main card, DeCasey. About no, on the prelims, Ketlin Vieira on the prelims. Good stuff there, but the main card is great. Aspinall Tabora. I expect Aspinall to do terrible things.
Yeah,
uh,
probably.
McCann versus Stolyarenko, Nathaniel Wood, Paul Craig, Jai Herbert, Lerone Murphy. Fun. It's not the best card, but it's a fun card. But
Yeah.
I'm just glad I haven't seen much of Patty Pimblett lately. So
Dude, I know. He's been pretty quiet, it seems like.
fine with me. I'll
Yeah.
tell you Patty Pimblett thing after this. It's interesting. Um, then dude, 291. Oh, this might be the card of the year.
It looks pretty good.
I mean, Poirier, Gaethje, beautiful. Blachowicz, Pereira. Oh my god, dude. I think Blachowicz submits him.
Yeah, it's an interesting matchup. One thing that I've really been thinking about with this card too is that it's in Salt Lake City. And if you remember the last card in Salt Lake City was Edwards versus Usman, and pretty much everybody gassed out on that card. So something for people to watch for is watch these fighters gas tanks because they're up at like, 50, 48, 5,000 feet or something. So it's going to be interesting to see how people have been training. Even if you train at altitude, it's a big shock to go up and fight at that high of an altitude. So
Yeah.
it'll be something to watch.
Then you got Tony Ferguson versus Body Tony, please. Tony, please.
Just hang him up, man.
Please, Tony.
Just hang him up.
Please win. Dude, I started watching MMA with the Jones Reyes card. Then I got hardcore real quick. I haven't seen Tony Ferguson win. I need to
Yeah.
see Tony Ferguson win. He was on his way to beating Michael Chandler, but then he got sent to
Oh man.
another place, which we're not going to talk. We don't talk about that on Throwing Hands. But and you got Paulo Costa versus Ikram Aliskerov. Um,
Dude, Tony, man, he just looked like a shell of himself against Nate Diaz. And Nate Diaz looked like a shell of himself. So it's like, man, Tony just, yeah, and that fight was up a weight class, but it's like, should he be cutting down to 155? Isn't that probably going to make it harder on him? So,
We'll see what happens. I'm scared.
and
But
dude, Bobby Green is not a bad fighter. Like, Bobby Green is still a very dangerous guy at this point in
yeah,
his career.
I mean, he's kind of got a second win at this point in his career, honestly.
Yeah.
He was beating Drew Dober to shreds, but that Drew Dober just sent.
Bro, Bobby Green, he was beating Islam. No, I'm just kidding. But
You got Steven Tons versus Michel Pereira, Derek Lewis versus Marcos Rogerio de Lima, Chiesa versus Holland. I think Holland wins that, honestly.
probably, with Derek Lewis too, I feel like they're kind of trying to get him out the door here, but I think Derek Lewis wins that fight by knockout.
I hope so too. Oh, but Derek Lewis at elevation.
Yeah, that's not good at all.
Semmelsberger versus Lanez.
That's
Ooh,
a fight
Roman
to watch.
Kopilov versus Ribeiro.
Roman
Oh my,
Kopilov, another guy. I'm super high on Roman Kopilov. I think he is a
I am
really,
too.
really good prospect.
I completely agree. Then you got Sandhagen versus Magomedov. Bob Mundus on that fight. Dustin Jacoby, Tanner Bozer. Great stuff there. Luque versus Dos Anjos. Card has been built out yet, unfortunately. And then Sterling versus O'Malley. And then Holloway versus Korean Zombie. We're gonna be taking some knees for Korean Zombie at the end of this, man.
Yeah.
This should this
The Sandhagen Nurmagomedov card looks pretty good too.
Yep. And then Gone versus Spivak rounds out the streak rather. Um wait, no, 293 is the next week. I forgot about that. And then Shevchenko's the next week. And then I think we have to get a break after that or something because that's so
I'm
fun.
sure there's got to be, yeah.
But oh my gosh, this summer is stacked. Guys, wait, we do have a break, Toby. It's home versus Myra Bueno Silva. Take a break.
Oh yeah, yeah,
We
exactly.
have a break then.
Yeah, true.
We have a break then. So your break comes July 15th, everybody. And
Is
then we
there
got 2 months.
is there any word on who's going to be headlining UFC 293 at all, or is that
I mean,
still too
Izzy
far out?
is.
You think it's gonna be
Uh,
Izzy?
I think it'll be Izzy versus Jamal Hill. That's my prediction.
Oh damn, yeah, that would be a fun one. That'd be interesting.
For sure. Toby, we another marathon, you and me, man. You and I just know how to crank
Time
it out.
flies though, for real. Seems like we've been talking for like 15, 20 minutes. But
Definitely. So, um, all right. So that'll do it for this episode. Toby, thanks for coming back on, man.
of course, man. Thanks for having me again.
Of course. Absolutely pleasure to have you. So we'll see you guys for the review of Fight Night Emmett versus Topuria. Peace out.